On today's podcast, we're talking about all that we might be anticipating at this time of year in our life and our work, and what in the unknown lies ahead. We're talking about acknowledging and honoring the worries or tension we might feel, and embracing all that we can control to seek excitement and eagerness for the future that we get to help create. Welcome back to the Thermostat with Jason Barger. If you're currently on a commute, a walk, or just a micro break in your day, glad you're making time to step back, to think, and to reflect on the next steps on your journey. I've never been more convinced the best leaders and team cultures in the world are the ones that make time to step back, breathe in good oxygen, and calibrate their thermostat. I hope today's conversation leaves you feeling grounded and inspired. Now let's dive into today's topic to engage our minds and hearts in order to authentically lead and create compelling cultures wherever we are in the world. Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome back to the Thermostat Podcast, wherever you are and however you're coming to the podcast today. Welcome in. So glad you are here. We're wrapping up season 8. We only got a couple episodes left in season 8. And so that puts us at the just about 260 or more episodes total for the podcast. So great celebration for the listeners and for the fact that there's so much great content out there in terms of thought leaders that have joined me on this podcast that I'm so grateful for, friends of mine and people that I admire that have shared their voice with this podcast, and then also micropods on all kinds of different topics. So if you're one of the people that have been with us from the very beginning, then I'm so glad and welcome back. So glad this continues to add value to your life and work. And I hope it continues to be an ethic for you, a time for you to kind of step back and think about your life and work. And anybody that's new to the podcast, welcome in. This continues to grow and spread. And like I said, there's 260 episodes. So I hope you'll Google my name, Jason Barger, the Thermostat, and whatever topic you think out there. And my guess is you're going to find a lot of great content and things that will hopefully add value to your life and your work. And that's the whole point. So thanks for everybody that does that. My commitment to the listeners each time I do this is I want each episode to be something that allows you to step back in your life and to think about the temperature that you're trying to set in your personal life, but certainly with the team and the organization that you serve, and to think about the culture that you're trying to create. And then hopefully the topics and the spirit and the questions and everything about these episodes, I hope they breathe a little good oxygen into you to think and to make some good adjustments along your path. That's the hope, and I hope you'll keep showing up and sharing it with others. And speaking of that, before we dive into today's topic, if you will do me the favor and rate the podcast 5 stars. That's one of the ways in which this continues to grow and spread. So just whatever platform you're listening to, if you'll hit 5 stars, just smash that button. If you'll leave an authentic review in your own words, that's really important because, you share what resonates with you and why are these topics and this spirit and this approach, why is this valuable in a noisy or divided or whatever world you think we're in. So, leaving an authentic review is really helpful. And then lastly, anytime you share the podcast, so if there's an episode or more that resonates with you, sharing it on social media and saying, hey, check this out, this really resonated with me, your team or your colleagues at work, hey, let's listen to this episode and talk about it. All of those ways, rating it, reviewing it, and sharing it help these messages reach further. And I'm so grateful for everybody that does that, because the whole point of this is to have these messages reach far and wide and make an impact on others. Thank you. I've realized in myself and by watching the people around me that this time of year always brings a feeling of anticipation. So much inside of me feels a sense of anticipation for what is coming. It started as a young, kid, of course, anticipating the holidays. So much excitement about the unknown and the mystery of what is to come. The Webster's Dictionary definition for anticipation is, quote, the act of anticipating something, an expectation or a prediction. And the feeling of anticipation is described as the feeling of excitement or eagerness about something that is going to happen in the future. So that feeling of anticipation is really what we're talking about today, that feeling of excitement or eagerness about something that is going to happen into the future. However, even though those definitions focus on the excitement and eagerness of anticipation, I also know that not all anticipation actually brings excitement and eagerness. And so if we're going to be real, which I try to be on this podcast, that I understand that there are people out there that sometimes some anticipation brings worry, brings anxiousness about what is to come. So I want to honor this notion of anticipation on this episode in both the joyful and exciting ways as we all hopefully are excited and eager about things that are happening in the future and things that are coming over the next week and months and years ahead, and bring that kind of joy and eagerness and excitement for that, but also to recognize that sometimes all of us are also going to feel the other side of that anticipation. And we also recognize that there are people right now that there's the anticipation they might be feeling is anxious tension that, again, we all feel in our lives or our work at some points. As we anticipate what might be happening tomorrow or throughout the holidays or into the coming year, my wish and hope for all of us is that we embrace the tension of our worries and carry with us still a spirit of excitement and eagerness for all that we can control in our life and work, recognizing that there's many things that are out of our control. But what are the eagerness and the excitement and the joy that even in the midst of tension and anxiety and that worry, what can we control and what can we bring? That is the temperature I hope we all can set, even in the midst of imperfections. The brilliance and the best of anticipation is controlling all that we can control to bring out the best in ourselves and those around us. That's the spirit of anticipation that I personally yearn for. So, on today's podcast, we're talking about all that we might be anticipating at this time of year in our life and our work, and what in the unknown lies ahead. We're talking about acknowledging and honoring the worries or tension we might feel, and embracing all that we can control to seek excitement and eagerness for the future that we get to help create. But before we dive into today's topic, let's pause, take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Many teams and organizations right now are realizing that they need to do both. They need to engage the minds and hearts of their people in person, where everyone in the room can experience the energy of congregating together and find clarity for the road ahead. And they also need to continue to find ways to engage the minds and hearts of their people virtually, with those who are working remotely or at a distance. So, if you are in the process of planning your next team meeting, company all-hands event, conference or culture summit, and are looking for support with a powerful keynote speech, facilitated team conversations that are the currency for change, or deeper development on leadership mindset and an intentional strategy for the culture you're trying to create, I hope you'll contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. It is my privilege and our honor to partner with great people to provide support in these areas. We want to breathe oxygen into your leaders and throughout your organization so you can set the temperature you want for your culture. We look forward to connecting with you soon. I hope you'll contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. It is my privilege and our honor to partner with great people to provide support in these areas. We want to breathe oxygen into your leaders and throughout your organization so you can set the temperature you want for your culture. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Again, I'm acutely aware of the feeling of anticipation that I and many others are feeling right now. Excitement and eagerness for things that are coming, as well as truth about worries or tension that might be beneath the surface. On this episode, I'm hoping to honor both, which will allow me to be a more grateful and self-aware presence in my own life, and also for the people around me in my life and my work. During times of anticipation around the holidays, I know the feelings that many have of loved ones that have been lost. I know that every time this time of year, it does bring back feelings of losing both my parents and people in my life that have been sick or people that I care about that are going through tough times. So I know the feelings that many of us have around the holidays that brings up this feeling of loved ones that are struggling or have been lost in the past year or years. Or just those people, again, that are experiencing challenges right now. I know the anticipation that some within our lives and work are feeling as it relates to their own job security or their role is changing within the organization. I know the tension that some may be feeling about the looming project or work that is coming in the new year that is going to require a lot of effort and resolve. And there's mixed feelings about it. I know that from not only people in my life and work, but also the people that on the teams and organization I serve, that sometimes that kind of anticipation is what people are experiencing. I'm naming these items because I know anticipation also brings these honest human emotions. I'm honoring these feelings because I recognize that all anticipation isn't puppy dogs and ice cream. Even though the Webster's Dictionary definition is about this feeling around eagerness and excitement and joy, we all have things in our life and our work that are imperfect and might be causing a bit of pause or, at worst, anxiety. I also know that for myself, and I'm assuming you as well, it's helpful within that feeling of anticipation to also bring my mindset back to the things that are within my control so that I don't spin out of control with worry or anxiety or focus on these things that are out of my control. To bring my focus back to the temperature I hope to set in my own life with my loved ones and with the teams and organizations that all of us serve. That honoring of the, uncomfortable feelings reminds me to also not wallow in them, to not just sit in this discomfort, but to redirect my focus to the excitement and eagerness of those things that might be within my control. On the last episode, I talked about the Japanese concept of omotenashi that is practiced in many service-oriented cultures. And one of the key elements is anticipating the needs of others before they arise. I hope you'll go back and listen to that episode and think about what I mean, and what this might mean in your own life and work. I really enjoyed that episode. But for today, I'm talking about the anticipation that we can recognize in ourselves and for the people around us. And then anticipating is about trying to figure out what is needed next. What's needed next? And anticipating what might that be within our control for that next stretch along our path. What's needed next for us personally? What's needed next for other people, the people around us? What's next in coming in the year or the months ahead, the weeks ahead? What's needed in our culture as a team or as an organization? What's needed next down in the horizon of what's the next evolution of the product or the service or whatever, as you think about it from an organizational standpoint? What is the anticipation of what is next and what is within our control to go find and seek solutions? To seek excitement and eagerness for the things that bring us joy. To seek and anticipate what might bring excitement and eagerness to the people around us. So for today, I'm spending just a few moments of my reflection around the holidays to think about what I'm excited about and eager about in the coming days and the year ahead. What is within my control to bring that spirit of excitement to life today for myself and for those around me? It doesn't mean I'm ignoring the feelings of tension or anxiety about those things that are hovering in the unknown, but it does mean I'm choosing to focus on the things that are within my control, to set a different temperature, to bring a spirit of excitement and eagerness to my life, to the work and to the relationship. It's an active effort in breathing good oxygen into myself so that I can share that and breathe good oxygen into others. So I'll thank you today for listening to this monologue within my own reflections, and I hope it stirred up a spirit in you to focus on what you can control during this season of anticipation. As usual, I always want to leave these podcast episodes with giving you some questions to help us all reflect on the excitement and eagerness that we might hope to focus on in our life and work. So some questions to ponder for today. What tension are you feeling about the future? And what is within your control? What is the tension that you might be feeling about the future? And what is within your control? What excites you about life, about work, and your relationships in the days and months ahead? And how could you share a spirit of eagerness and joy with those around you? I hope today's episode of talking about this idea of anticipation got you thinking in some new ways. If any of these topics that we've been talking about, if any of this adds value, if you have questions about it or you've got a comment or you want to dive deeper into this, I hope you'll send us a message, email info@jasonvbarger.com, info@jasonvbarger.com, and share your question or your thought or something that you think might contribute to this conversation, or if there's something else that you want to talk about, or if we can be supportive to you in the development of people and culture and this kind of clarity around mission, vision, and values in your team or your organization. I hope you'll reach out to us at the website jasonvbarger.com. So lastly, I'll just remind you to go back. Again, we got 260 plus episodes now of the pod, so I hope you'll search, Google my name, the Thermostat podcast, and whatever topic you're looking for, and chances are you're going to find something that hopefully contributes to your life and your work. And then I just ask you to rate the podcast 5 stars, leave an authentic review in your own words, and share the ones that mean something to you with the people in your life and your work. So cheers to you and cheers to all of us on the road ahead and all that we might be anticipating in the world. And remember that the future of leadership is you, is me, is us. We get the chance to think about the temperature that we want to set for how we show up to not just what we do, but how we do what we do. And then it's going to take courage to breathe oxygen into ourselves and into others, to be that person and set that temperature in all that we do. And we know that that's needed in the world, and we know that that is an element of just the most impactful and the most successful leaders, teams, and organizations on the planet. So a reminder to us all to step back, remember, be a thermostat, and breathe good oxygen. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and I hope the messages and questions stimulate positive change along your path. As always, if these messages resonate with you and add value to your life, I hope you'll help amplify them throughout the world. Please rate, comment, and share on whatever podcast or social media platform you're using, and share this podcast with the people in your life or work who should be part of these conversations. That way, this spirit does, in fact, spread. If these messages or developing leaders and culture would be helpful to you and your organization, please contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. And remember, we are all ambassadors for the culture we want to create in our life and work. We have to own the vision we want to be a part of. The future of leadership is you, is me, is us. Be a thermostat.